media is freaking out after months of legal drama and uncertainty. Elon Musk is closing in on his blockbuster deal to buy Twitter with the stated goal of restoring free speech. The world's richest man making a surprise offer to go through with his bid to buy the social media giant on the terms he originally agreed to. Some in the press are now very concerned about it, with one reporter warning that the outcome of the midterms could be impacted, tweeting this: "For those of you asking, yes, I do think this site can and will change pretty dramatically if Musk gets full control over it. No, there is no immediate replacement. If it gets done early enough, based on the people he's aligned with, yes, it could actually affect the midterms." And others in the media don't like it either.
I hesitate to even ask, what could Elon Musk be thinking? That's a recipe for disaster.
Have you ever been to a wedding where you're like there and you're like, ooh, they really shouldn't be getting married. You know, this is not going to work out. I mean, this is kind of what is happening.
Let's say they reinstate Donald Trump onto Twitter.
Yeah.
Would you leave the service?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't need to be there for that. I'm not on Truth Social for a reason.
The fight for free speech is a big deal to Elon Musk, who has slammed the decision by big tech to censor the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story. Hunter's former business associate, Tony Bobolinsky, speaking out about the censorship last night.
I'm coming out now because American people still are being lied to about the facts. I don't want to be sitting here in December and they actually indict Hunter Biden, and then the American people are like, why weren't we made aware of those facts? This is crazy. I would have changed my vote for that congressman or that senator or that governor or that attorney general. My email address was there. I'm easy to get a hold of. Facebook never reached out to me and said, hey, Tony, we see that this email that the New York Post just published to you, is it real? Can you produce the email to us? Within 5 minutes, if Twitter, Facebook, anybody else had reached out, I would have produced the email.
So, Greg, for the journalist to say that Twitter could, if this change could affect the midterms, doesn't that mean that it's affecting the midterms now?
Yes, and I think they use the phrase affect and kind of like, but they're not, you know what they mean. I mean, it's a value, it's a kind of a value neutral term, but you know what they're talking about. They're telling you that they know the jig is up, right? They're like, it's like when squatters realize that the owner's coming back to their house and they better cover up the rug stains, you know, with furniture and get the heck out. That's what's happening right now. I think they do realize they had a free run on this thing. But you got to remember, you know, there's a lot of interesting things that most people aren't on Twitter. The problem is the people who are on Twitter are the media specifically, and they mistakenly believe that the attitudes and assumptions on Twitter reflect the country's thoughts. No, it's actually just the media cycling through their own thoughts over and over again. And it's interesting because these are the people that use and abuse Twitter most, and they're the people who need it least. Right? If you're in the media, you already have your what do you call it, your megaphone, and yet they run to Twitter and they need it even more. So there's a sense of desperation that they're kind of losing. They're losing a crutch. Twitter was their crutch. They could actually find their opinions from Twitter. It was like a little opinion tree. Like if you didn't know what to think about, let's say, gender affirmation surgery, and it's so complicated. You can go and pick your little opinion off Twitter and just say, oh, this will help reduce, the mental anguish of a confused teen, or whatever you want. Or if there's something about education, you can pick that opinion that says, you know what, these are domestic terrorists, who are threatening the teachers' unions. They have it all preset for you. You can just pull them out. But they're very selfish because they got what they wanted out of this deal with Twitter. They already got Biden elected, right? Through their self-censorship. Exactly. So it's like, why you guys should just be happy and walk away knowing that you stole an election by basically manipulating the social media networks and these tech titans to do what you want.
Jesse, the New York Times reported that every Twitter employee that they spoke to was planning to quit, which might actually help.
Clean house.
For Elon Musk, if you're taking over, that means that you don't have to worry about people who are going to undermine you.
Twitter used to be like a really cool bar. You used to let everybody in. Good vibe, good drinks. And then some of the regulars started to complain, the libs. And they're like, it's too loud in here. I don't like the music. This guy bumped into my shoulder on the way back from the bathroom. And they complained to management. And management was kind of in step with the regs and said, all right, we're going to do some things. We're going to hire a bouncer. We're going to have a little VIP room in the back. We're going to have a dress code we're going to enforce. And then things started changing, right? They started not letting people in. You couldn't get a drink order. And, the police chief and the mayor would sit in the back and kind of run things. And they got everything comped. And then all of a sudden, half the regulars were like, this place is great. And the other regulars were like, this place sucks now. And then it got really bad because then the regulars that were running it started kind of selling numbers out of the back, maybe passing cash, envelopes, sex trafficking out of the back, doing really dirty things.
You're taking this analogy to the very end.
I'm not finished. And no one did anything about that. But if you lit up a cigarette, boom, they'd throw you head out onto the pavement. People didn't like that. And then all of a sudden, no one started to go to the bar anymore. You know, started to lose customers. And then new management came. This guy wanted to buy it. And then the regulars that ran the place were like, no, you can't buy it because you're going to let everybody in. You're not going to have a dress code anymore. It's going to be first come, first serve. I'm not going to get my special table and special treatment. And that's what's going on. It's like a bar that got bad and now it's good again.
I am impressed.
Thank you.
I have to say. That was something else, Judge.
Thank you.
There was this legal dispute that was going on between Twitter and Elon Musk, and then he finally said, okay, forget it. I'm just going to buy it anyway.
Yeah. Elon Musk was fearful that the magistrate would rule against him. The trial is scheduled for, I believe, October 17th. And he said, look, I'm going to go forward and buy it. But, you know, as a condition of that, I want you to cancel the trial. But I think that what's so amazing about this is that everyone on the left is screaming, you know, oh, my gosh, it's going to affect the election. Quotes like, be afraid. They're going to reshape the election. They're good. You know, and it's so typical of the hypocrisy of the left, where everything they're afraid of happening, they've already done. You know, it's like Bob Alinsky was just saying in this sound, you know, had I been able to talk to the American people, had this information not been suppressed on social media about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, that election might not have been turned out the way it did turn out. But now they're saying, oh, my gosh, free speech. We can't have free speech. And it shows you how quickly the left has moved its agenda, where we have to fight and say, hey, it's a good thing. Freedom of speech is a good thing. When people are saying, oh, no, it's wrong, people will be able to say things. But, you know, it's just a hypocrisy that is so obvious. And the employees are freaked out. And what are they saying? They're like living the show Succession themselves, trying to figure out who's going to work and who's not going to work and cue the layoffs and all that. Well, you know what? Maybe people deserve to be laid off.
Especially if there were tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of fake accounts.
Exactly.
I think that was something that, like, there's fake regulars at the bar, Jesse. They're like ghost regular
People holding a
customers.
seat and they're not there.
Yeah, exactly, Jessica.
I hate that.
What do you think?
I was never really that afraid of Elon Musk buying Twitter because a lot of the things that he said he wanted to do, actually internally executives were saying they wanted to do as well. They wanted more transparency about how the algorithm worked, and they thought that that was important for their employees. Now, I don't know how many of those executives are going to be around after he does take over, if he does. You're right, it's October 17th, the trial going forward. But it was just reported about half an hour ago that Apollo Global Management, who was doing the preferred financing, has pulled out of the deal. I mean, this is not a completed situation here. The question is not about free speech. It's about the line between free speech and misinformation for liberals. And that's a difficult line to tread because this was particularly important during the COVID pandemic when the governments, both the Trump administration and then the Biden administration, were working with the social media companies to make sure that there was not that information getting out about the disease itself, about the vaccine, et cetera. And I think that's what people's principal concern is here. And I'm waiting for Elon Musk to give a good answer besides, you know, I'm going to reinstate Donald Trump and I'm going to let get rid of all of the bots. What are you going to do about the fact that people do use these tools to spread falsehoods that are potentially dangerous to their health, for instance? I know they have huge armies monitoring.
It's also interesting, like the California Governor Newsom went ahead and signed that law that basically says that doctors now, even in the privacy of their own doctors' offices, can lose their license for something that they say to their patient in private because the government would decide that it's misinformation.
One man's misinformation is another person's information.
Truth.
It's just like you're hearing the hate speech argument go through a new definition. This is a new redefined version of hate speech. It's what you define it as. That's why it's meaningless.
Let's give you the last word. Go ahead.
It isn't meaningless because it's how decisions like this get made that affects, tens of millions of people. And you're right. The average person is not on Twitter and they don't care. That was one of the main lessons from the 2020 primary on the Democratic side when Joe Biden won. everyone who supported him in South Carolina, they're not blue check marks, right? They're not people that are going online. They're people who have to work a normal job, and then they go to the polls and they vote for the person they think has the best chance of winning. But belittling people's concerns over bad information and monitoring accounts that can lead to terrorism. This is one of the principal concerns.
I trust the American people to find out what's right and what's wrong. We don't need some big government trying to look at all the algorithms. They can do it themselves.
And the Supreme Court has protected hate speech. It is protected speech. It is up to the individual to determine whether or not they want to follow, believe, or invest in speech. It's not up to the government. We know from what's her name who was singing Mary Poppins.
Scary Poppins.
It's a joke. Yeah.
That's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Because she was the expert who turned out had been lying about the Hunter Biden laptop the whole time and Russian collusion the whole time. You can't find an expert because they're all in this game.
All right, that was a good talk, everybody.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.